Are Black Americans genuinely at risk of ICE deportations, or is this political rhetoric? Delve into the debate surrounding allegations of racial profiling by immigration authorities. Explore the facts and narratives shaping this controversial issue.
This fine gentleman seems to think that Black Americans, like me, are the next targets of ICE. We're in danger of being deported. We're in danger of being kidnapped.
The initial concern is about ICE's potential overreach targeting Black Americans. While there are isolated reports of mistaken identity and wrongful detention, such incidents are not widespread. Data shows ICE's primary focus remains on non-citizens with criminal records. However, concerns about racial profiling exist and merit investigation. The clip reflects a broader fear within minority communities regarding immigration enforcement and civil rights abuses, highlighting a need for transparency and accountability in ICE practices. To address these worries, systemic review and reform are critical. America's multicultural fabric underscores the need for trust between communities and law enforcement. Monitoring for policy changes in immigration is essential. This is part of an evolving narrative that requires a close watch.
There's a lot I want to say about that, so let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a very interesting video that I've come across on the interwebs of a white liberal attempting to shame Black Americans into joining the fight against ICE. Now, I'm going to say this straight away. Contrary to what this guy's going to say in a minute, this fight is not our fight as Black Americans. It's not our fight as Americans.
The focus here is on personal responsibility regarding illegal immigration. The speaker argues that being undocumented is a personal choice and unrelated to citizens' responsibilities. This oversimplification misses complex factors like asylum seeking or economic desperation driving migration. Enforcement tactics, however, are legal regardless of their politicization. Receipts, ICE legally conducts deportation. A key issue remains in systemic fairness and protections for citizens' rights. Public distrust is fueled by anecdotal miscarriages of justice, requiring clearer policies and communication. Greater emphasis on process improvement and legal protection is needed. This segment raises pertinent questions about shared responsibilities in a lawful society.
Regardless of what color you are, because if you're here illegally and you refuse to leave, that's on you. That's not my fault. That's not my problem. That's not my business. That is your issue. You came here illegally on your own. You stay here illegally on your own. You committed crimes here on your own. That's not my responsibility. I'm not a criminal. I'm not an alien. I'm a natural born U.S. citizen, born and raised. I cannot get deported. Where are you going to send me? My grandma's house in West Virginia? Where am I going? I'm not going anywhere. But guess who is? They are, not me. And before I go any further, let's get straight to the video. Of course, I will link to the full video in the box if you want to see it and hear it without my commentary. If you're on IG, Facebook, etc., visit a link in the bio. Go to the corresponding article on the website.
The debate turns to whether the fight against ICE is universal. The assertion is that ICE's actions target non-citizens, not citizens, revealing tension in public perception versus operational reality. Yet, criticisms about racial discrimination expose deeper societal fissures. Historically, immigration enforcement has sparked debates on civil liberties. The primary concern is whether enforcement acts within legal and ethical boundaries while maintaining national security. Evaluating ICE's role involves scrutinizing its policy impacts and unintended consequences. Keeping informed on legislative changes provides insights into shifting public policies. Monitoring this sector helps assess the balance between security and liberty. It's imperative to clarify the distinction between immigration issues and rights protection.
But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
For all the Black Americans saying ICE isn't our problem, you do realize that they're kidnapping Black Americans too, right? And they're just saying, oh, we thought they were African. We thought they were illegal immigrants. And then they will detain you for days, sometimes weeks, so that they can have their way with you in the ICE detention center while they figure out that you're an American citizen. In fact, that's exactly what happened to this lady right here. She's an American citizen. They detained her for 2 days and kept her in that detention center. And this is what they're doing with so many people. If you're not white, they will target you. If they just have a bad day, they just feel angry or feel extra racist that day, they'll target you, kidnap you, beat you, throw you in the back of a truck, and take you to some random ICE detention center. There was one citizen that they actually deported to a whole nother country, and she was a US citizen. This is no longer about left versus right. This is no longer even political. It's just straight up racism against anybody who isn't white. If it was about them not working, then why is ICE showing up to their jobs to arrest them and deport them? If it was about them not paying taxes, then why is ICE using the IRS to find them? And if it was about them not being here legally, then why is ICE waiting for them at their court hearings where they are going to follow the legal proceedings of how to become a citizen here and how to be a legal resident here? It's never been about any of that. It's always been about race. Always. If you're not white, you are their target. Right-wingers, people who support ICE, are white, and they will never, ever admit that it's about race for them. They want anybody who isn't white to be beaten, kidnapped, deported. They want punishment. They want violence against anyone who isn't white. That is their goal.
Okay, Mr. White Supremacist, that's what I heard from you, right? White is right. That's what I heard from that situation. Now, there's a lot we got to get through. Now, let's get to this first claim right here.
Accusations of racial bias in ICE operations are dissected, showing inconsistencies. While anecdotal evidence exists of citizen detentions, systematic bias remains contested by official data. Misinterpretations about isolated cases can mislead public perception. Legislative and judicial oversight is crucial to mitigate potential overreach and ensure justice. Enhancing checks and balances within immigration enforcement is essential. The complexity of the immigration issue demands nuanced understanding rather than blanket assertions. Judicial outcomes and watchdog reports offer clarity on enforcement integrity. Vigilance in media and policy updates can help identify reform opportunities. Receipts, numerous hearings and reports examining ICE conduct. Continuous observation remains key to ensuring accountability.
Okay, now the Chicago situation. I covered this story. This was at the end of September, early October of last year, 2025. Now, what happened was there was a raid on an apartment complex, and one of the buildings in the complex was supposed to be abandoned. However, Venezuelans, and mostly the Venezuelan gang, Trinidad Agua, took the abandoned building over and started living in there. Okay, so first of all, you're a gang, a criminal gang, here illegally, and you're squatting. So when ICE came and did a raid on the building where there should have been nobody, they got these Venezuelans and also some citizens who were in there squatting. Now, the citizens were not deported. They were detained briefly and released. They were detained briefly because they were trespassing in the place where they shouldn't have been, but they were not deported. The illegal aliens were the ones who were deported. And I'll link to this article right here so you can see it. And this guy from Chicago in the area is going to tell you a little bit about what's going on. Check it out.
All right, so let me help you out with this one, okay? Since you don't get it. I literally live around the corner from where that happened at, okay? And not all black people were detained. It was just a couple of black folks in a building that nobody was supposed to be in. Yeah, they didn't tell you that narrative, that nobody was supposed to be in that building. Nobody. Also, that's a building full of clucks. You do know what clucks is, right?
Drug addicts.
Also, the Venezuelans went through that building and took over the whole building. Not forcefully, but they just started moving in apartments they ain't had no business moving into.
Exactly. So that's what's going on. Let's go back to the original video here and debunk some more of these claims. Okay, so that was one. Now, this one is really funny. Okay, so this lady right here, Nasra Ahmed. Now, Mr. Whitesman, you told me that black Americans were the ones being targeted and kidnapped and deported and everything else, but that ain't a black American, and she was not deported. Okay, that's a Somali out there in Minnesota. Now, let's get to what she actually did. Talking about, oh, she was detained, all this. Let's get to what really happened here. Let's get to it, okay? Now, look, that's her. Here's the narrative. Nasra Ahmed was walking through the parking lot of her aunt St. Paul apartment complex when she found herself surrounded by a dozen agents. Ahmed, born in the USA, says she showed them her ID. She was forcibly detained in jail anyway for more than 2 days. Now, do you jail someone for 2 days that is an illegal alien about to be deported? No, obviously she's a citizen here legally. You're not being deported. But why was she detained? Well, maybe, doing things like spitting on ICE agents might not be a great idea. Let's check her out right there. You can see her in the center of this frame. Let me turn that video down, but you can see, there she go right there. And it's going to be kind of hard to see. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit right here so you can really capture what's going on. All right. Hopefully that is going to work. So you see the agent kind of recoiled. It's because she was spitting on them. So yeah, if you spit on an ICE agent, that's called assault. Okay. That is called assault. And if you do something like that, you might get detained just for that to be the case. Now, I don't know why they were surrounding her. Maybe she was a suspect. Maybe it was something going on. Maybe they're asking her a question. Maybe she had already been violent at that point, considering how she spit on somebody. Okay. Yeah, that'll get you detained. Okay. So that's that one. And let's go back to some more things here that this guy was talking about. Let me get this back situated. Okay. Now that's that. And here's what I really wanted to talk about. ICE deports 3 U.S. citizen children held incommunicado prior to deportation. Okay, now what happened was you have people who are here illegally getting deported, and they are allowed to choose whether they bring their kids with them or not. So it's misleading to say that the kids got deported if they're U.S. citizens. Nah. Okay, Mr. X, Y, and Z illegal alien, we're going to deport you. You got this crazy record. You got you got a crazy rap sheet. You're here illegally. We're going to deport you. You have the option of taking your kids with you or leaving them here with a designated person that you approve of. That is what's going on. Now, sometimes they choose to take their kids with them. That does not mean the kids got deported. That means the parent got deported and they took their U.S. citizen child back with them. The whole anchor baby thing is not as strong as it used to be. The idea of an anchor baby was, okay, if one of your kids is a citizen, you can't be deported. That's not really the case. And I'm not sure if it was always the case all the time, but it's most certainly not the case all the time right now. Okay. Matter of fact, let me go to that article right quick. See if I can just pull that up and see, there it is. This is from the ACLU. All right. All right. So let me just read some of this so you can see what's going on. So he's talking about the kids, U.S. citizens, but in this article, they don't say that the parents were. So look, New Orleans, Louisiana today, early in the morning, the New Orleans Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE field office supported at least 2 families, including 2 mothers and their minor children, 3 of whom are U.S. citizen children aged 2, 4, and 7. Now, it does not say that the mothers are citizens. It does not say that the fathers are citizens. It says the kids are. Again, if you get deported, as I close, if you get deported and you got kids and they're citizens, you have options. They can stay here in the USA, but you can't. And if they stay here, they got to have somebody that can care for them. That's the whole situation. Now, look, that was a nice try, Mr. White Man, but Black Americans is not our fight. Really, like I said, for Americans in general, it's not our fight. If you're here illegally, you're breaking the law, you are a criminal, that's on you. I don't know what to tell you. Well, I do know what to tell you. I would say just go back home. I mean, they got a good deal. Look, watch this. Here's how sweet the deal is for self-deportation. You ready? If you self-deport on the CBP Home app, you are able to get a free plane ride to wherever you want in the world. So whatever kind of podunk corner of this planet, you could go there for free. You want to go to Kyrgyzstan, Central Asia. You want to go to Argentina. You want to go to South Korea, North Korea, not North Korea, but you understand what I'm saying? You could go anywhere in the world for free, and they're going to give you $2,600 in U.S. American cold hard cash dollars. And you have the ability to come back legally. You're not going to be banned from the country if you self-deport. You pretty much getting the free ride back to the house with some money to kind of start over. And once you're able to build yourself up a certain amount in that country where you come from, where you get deported to, you could come back here legally and live life normally rather than being a criminal in the shadows. To me, it makes perfect sense. I think it's a great deal, despite what people like that who I just showed you want to try to tell you. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that the fight against ICE is Black Americans fight the fight? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. No, it is not our fight to fight. It has nothing to do with us. If you're a citizen, I don't care. You black, white, Puerto Rican, and Canadian stripe, LGBTQ, elemental P, X, Y, and Z. I don't care. You a citizen. You're, especially if you're born here. I mean, what does it got to do with you? It has nothing to do with you, and don't let anyone gaslight you or manipulate you into believing that it is your fight to fight. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Detailed incidents, including the purported deportation of U.S. citizens, are examined. Many allegations stem from misreported instances or lack of clear data, shifting responsibility to narrative clarity. ICE operations need tighter coordination with localities to avoid errors impacting citizens. Historical apprehensions often arise from fears of systemic racism, warranting comprehensive review in law enforcement practices. Cases depicted symbolize broader concerns of enforcement miscues and sentiment manipulation. Strengthening identification procedures and oversight could ameliorate these tensions. Equitable legal support is necessary for those wrongly detained. Policy engagement and social reforms are promising next steps. Impact racially misrepresentative cases impact public trust. Focus on ensuring rights protection and policy precision.